Hello everybody, I'm Krasi Attasio, I'm sidereal astrologer, and today I will talk about the evolution of the soul. This is a topic that I will not be certainly able to develop completely, as I do not have all the answers. Of course not, no one has, but I will attempt certainly to give some light on this question based on my research into the ancient Babylonian astrology, also based on my experience with the charts which I've been analyzing. So our evolution, the evolution of the soul of each one of us, I noticed that it is very important when approaching a horoscope of a person first to look at the evolution of the soul in order to determine how certain aspects or placements of fixed stars and anything in the chart will manifest, what kinds of events or emotions or attitudes they will create for the person. And all this depends on the evolution of the soul. And yes, you will ask, but how do we know what the evolution of the soul is? Well, my opinion is that there is a way, and there are certain keys in the chart which point towards the evolution of the soul. I will certainly not be able to name the levels of the evolution, but I will give you some key insights that you may find important and useful when you're approaching a chart. But I noticed that when you look, for example, at a very difficult aspect, take, for example, the most difficult configuration in the chart, which would be the square between the two malefic planets, Mars and Saturn. This particular square can create very dangerous events, dramatic events in people's lives. Well, depends. This particular placement can also create practicalities, can create attitude of the person towards his or her work, which could be very practical. And all this depends on the level and the evolution of the soul. So, we do not know who we are because we come here with amnesia. We have no idea who we really are. We know only what our current incarnation is giving us. So we basically need to look at our previous incarnations to see what we achieved, what our souls have achieved. So how we do this? Well, I have the impression, and I also read the Bulgarian master being Sadun, who gave very interesting, he was an amazing astrologer, and he gave very interesting insights based on the aspects between the planets. Very simple thing. When a person arrives on Earth to experience this lifetime, this incarnation, and when you see very harmonious chart, harmonious would mean trine aspects, which would say, 120 degrees aspects between planets, sextile aspects, 60 degrees between planets. These are the harmonious aspects. Even the conjunction can be harmonious, depends. But when you see harmonious charts with very good placements of the benefics, let's say aspecting the ascendant, and basically chart which shows harmony, you can then say, according to him, and I can tell you that this is very much the truth, that this person deserved to come in this lifetime and experience harmony, because this soul must have gone through hardships, hard time, many lessons, and the level of the soul, the evolution of the soul, the lessons learned are on such level that the person deserved that the person is not able to harm others, to create hardships for others. You also notice that when you see a person who has too many trine aspects or sextiles, this person will be empathic based. This is very general, of course, but will be empathic, will be not hurting other people's feelings, will be not harming others. And this is based on many previous lessons. He or she has learned the lessons of the past incarnations, and now they arrived in this lifetime having not that many future lessons to learn. Of course, we have Saturn, we have Mars in the charts, we have Pluto, we have Uranus, and also this person who have these beautiful trines and sextiles, who have their hard times, who have their oppositions, who have their other aspects, can have Saturn on midheaven, on the ascendant, which will produce hardships, of course. You can also see person with very disharmonious character, which is based on very and many disharmonious aspects like squares between Saturn and Mars, a very hard thing, opposition Saturn and Mars and others. Then this soul didn't learn that the lessons that well, and came into this incarnation to go through them, either to go through them again or to experience lessons which are needed for the soul to evaluate, to go on another level of evolution, or to reach a certain level of achievement or harmony. So this is one thing that you need to look at. But of course, it is certainly not conclusive yet. Very important are also Rahu and Ketu, the lunar nodes, the head of the dragon, the tail of the dragon. The more spiritual, the more harmonious their placement is. Ketu is pointing towards the past, our past incarnation, where what we achieved in our past lives, and Rahu, the head of the dragon, will point towards what we will be aiming at in this lifetime, in this incarnation. And this is very important. These are two very important points that you need to analyze in order to see how far the soul has reached. And this is still not conclusive, of course. And then you have the sacred degrees. And this is a key thing. I have separate video on the sacred degrees, and you might like to see it. Just see it. It's somewhere on my channel, Sacred Degrees in Astrology. And these particular degrees are all about evolution of the soul, spirituality, and they're only 7, and they point towards whether the person was involved in spiritual activities, and how this was developed in particular. Because imagine if you have luminary in a sacred degree, you may conclude that the person was very spiritual, did some very lofty philosophical or spiritual deeds to help others. But then if you see, for example, like take the 7-degree Scorpio sidereal, and there you would have in the crown of the Scorpion this place, the 7-degree Scorpio, and there you may have Mars. I think Hitler had their Saturn on Mars, if I remember well. So then this person did some bad actions in relation to the spirituality and the spiritual activities, and this certainly has an imprint on the evolution of the soul. And this particular degree now in this incarnation will create particular lessons for this person to learn. Very important is also the placement of Uranus, in particular towards the luminaries also. This is like point number 4 that I am giving you, because Uranus is Anu, it is the sky, it is the God, the cosmos, it is the divinity, An or Anu, who was a prime god, who was given the number 60, like the highest of the ciphers given to divinities in Mesopotamia. So this particular divinity and how Uranus is placed in someone's chart is key point to show you on the revolution of the soul. If you see that someone is having hard aspect between Uranus and Saturn, and this person will experience hardship in this lifetime for sure, and this is because this particular soul didn't learn certain lessons in relation to empathy, spirituality, following the rules of the universe. So, and then it is about the fixed stars. Of course, well, the sacred degrees are also related to fixed stars, but it is about the fixed stars. And here come the very, very important royal stars, the 4 royal stars. Look, I have also 4 separate videos on the 4 royal stars. If one is granted the blessing of a royal star on the ascendant or mid-heaven, this person deserved it. How? Deserved it through certain achievements of the soul. He or she did a lot of work and deserved this particular royal placement in his or her chart because it's like a present for the soul in this lifetime. And then it will grant and it will certain evolution of the soul. It shows that in the past incarnation, he or she worked a lot to achieve this particular placement. And let's also not forget that we arrive here on the particular minute. And second, on purpose. Why is it so important for astrologer to see your chart and to have exact timing? Because all matters, every degree, every minute of your chart matters, because there you can see the projections or the paranatalonte, so-called, of the stars and the constellations which rise on your chart in order to show your soul evolution, your vibrational level, and everything related to your soul. The ancient astrology is very esoteric. It is very much about spirituality, soul purpose, soul mission, soul evolution. And before going into the other details, because before seeing the other aspects of someone's chart, it is good and very useful first to see and to try to determine the evolution of the soul of the person. Maybe you do not need to share it with the one that comes to seek your advice, but when you know how far the person has reached, you will know how this particular aspect will manifest. This is very, very important, and I can tell you that this is what I've learned based on the on all these small details in the astronomical Babylonian astrology, which is basically the anatomy of the sky. Everything matters. Example, you may see someone having Leo rising, Leo ascendant, and then Saturn is in the heart of the lion. There will be either 2 things, or the person will be cold-hearted and will not be really opening his or her heart towards the others and will not be empathic enough, or the person will suffer heart issues. But all this you can determine based on the additional factors. This is just one very small example that I'm giving you. Of course, when you already know, well, you cannot know for certain, but you will have indication on the evolution of the soul of the person, you will then be able to see how the planetary aspects in the chart will manifest, how harmful the aspect between Saturn and Mars will be, or how benefic the aspect between Jupiter and Venus will be. So just to summarize before I conclude, that I came to these conclusions. Maybe many of you also did. I'm probably not the only one, but I came to these conclusions when I was wondering how come this same aspect, analyzed by the ancients with the same words, were analyzed like that this particular aspect will result in the same events or similar. How come it's not like that? And how come it manifests differently in people's charts? And then I understood that first I need to determine this, the evolution of the soul. I hope this was useful. And you're welcome to share your thoughts and also your experiences on this, because this is a never-ending story. And most probably, if I learn more into this amazing and fascinating direction, I will share it with you. Thank you.